The hunting horn is the baby brother of the gym-going, quarterback MMA fighting hammer. While the hammer was busy bulking up and pumping iron, the hunting horn stayed at home and listened to music and joined the school band, watching his brother from a distance while cheering him on during his games. The hunting horn then goes on to make his own music and inspired people with words and melodies and eventually reached the same popularity as his big bro. And together, they rock the world with strength and music. But no, this isn't a webcomic or an audiobook. This is the weapons intro for the hunting horn. Welcome back everybody to another weapons intro for Monster Hunter Wilds featuring the hunting horn. Whoops, sorry. The hunting horn is the only other blunt weapon in the game. While the other weapons that have shields can do shield bash, they are not considered as actual blunt weapons. They are still bladed or piercing weapons. They just happen to have a shield that does blunt damage. Now, while the hammer boasts a much higher damage output and focuses on raw damage, the hunting horn focuses more on self-improvement and fortifications. Much like the sword and shield, the hunting horn along with the light bowgun are considered semi-support weapons. And I say semi because they're not just focused on supporting the squad. A hunting horn user can stand on their own with its decent amount of damage and moveset. I spent a good amount of time in Monster Hunter World maining the hunting horn as a solo hunter, and I did pretty well. The only downside, much like the hammer, is that the hunting horn does not do severing damage. You cannot cut tails with these weapons. Different hunting horns have different songs. Depending on which hunting horn you are using, you will have a different set of melody effects. This one that I'm using, the Hope Horn, which kinda looks like a giant saxophone, does attack up, fire resistance, sonic waves, echo wave, which does blunt damage, and offset melody. Self-improvement is the only melody effect that you will see similar to all hunting horns. Everything else offers a wide variety of melody effects. Some would focus on defense, some would focus on elemental attacks, some would focus on raw damage, and some would focus on support and healing. There are others though that does a good mix of melody effects. Each button would correspond to a differently colored note, which will show on the upper right side of your screen when you ready your weapon. It's kind of like a song list with a note guide for you. Now, as I mentioned, it will be different for every hunting horn. There are others that has songs that will ask you to press YB, YB, B, or YB, Y, B, or Y, B, Y, and so on and so forth. Now, below your sharpness meter, it will show you the notes that you have currently lined up and prepared for a song. Take note that you can stack 3 different songs on your song list. Now, the melody effects will not kick in unless you actually play the song. Now, as you've seen, I just spammed the right trigger and played all 3 songs. And towards the end, you saw that the song list turned purple, which then said Encore towards the end. What Encore does is it reinforces the current song that you are playing. So it increases the effect of the song that you just played. You do that by pressing the right trigger again, just as the song finishes. So let me show you. There you go. So from yellow, it turns purple, which means you have activated the Encore, which gives you the maximum effect that you can get from that song. So in Monster Hunter Wilds, they added a new feature to the hunting horn called the Echo Bubble. So as you can see there in the guide, it says A plus RT. When you do that, your character will then dance and leave this bubble area, which will then buff any hunter that passes by with evasion and movement speed up. So on top of your self-improvement, which allows you to move much faster with your weapon drawn, you get better evasion and movement speed with the Echo Bubble. Now let's see the process of playing notes by using normal attacks, stacking up songs playing them and then having them on Encore. So let's go ahead and do it. So as you can see there, I have already activated self-improvement, but just for kicks, let's go ahead and do that. So white is Y, red is B, and yellow is YB. So let's stack up, I guess, self-improvement, attack up, and fire resistance. So let's do it. So even if you don't land your hits, the notes will still stack up on your song list. And as you can see, there are corresponding buttons for each melody effect, which means you can skip the top part because your hunting horn will play from top to bottom and play whichever other song on the list you have by pressing the corresponding buttons. And then you can cancel the song by rolling away, just like any other weapons that we've covered so far. Because if you just press the right trigger, it will just start from the top of the song list and go straight to the bottom. Okay, now before we do the focus mode ability, let's go ahead and see what the normal attacks look like. You know, the ones that generate the notes. So for Y, it's a left swing, forward smash, left swing, forward smash. For the B, or the right face button, it is the right swing, a flourish, and then a right swing, and then a flourish. For the combination of both B and Y, you do a backwards strike, and then an overhead smash. Now, if you notice, the training dummy got KO'd because, well, as I've mentioned, this is a blunt weapon, so if you keep hitting the head with it, you'll eventually trigger a KO status. Now, do you have to constantly think of what buttons to press while fighting a monster? Not exactly. If you already have melody effects active, then you can just use whatever attack necessary at that time. You could even cancel your attacks and your combos with the roll. Now, as you saw, I was also able to do a hilt stab, which kind of works like an animation cancel. And it works with both the Y and the B button. The only thing different is you'll have to pull your left stick downwards. Alright, so now that we've covered all of the basics of the basics, let's see the focus strike. The focus strike is called Reverb. So, just like before, you hold down the left trigger, aim your reticle, get in range, and then press the RB. Now, if you noticed, while we were doing the reverb attack, a list of 3 things appeared on the right side of the screen. Y, B, and YB, and it all said store notes. So what you can do with that focus strike is when you hit it, you could just quickly stack up notes on your song list. That way, after the reverb ends, you can immediately play your performance straight to an encore. So not only did you destroy the wounded part, you also activated a melody effect, not just for you, but if you're playing in a multiplayer setting, the entire squad. And lastly, the perform button isn't just for performing. It is an actual attack where your character will swing the hunting horn from the left side, or if you're running, kick it upwards like an uppercut. So yeah, there we go. That is the basic of the most basic weapon information about the hunting horn. Is it something that you think you would like to use in your arsenal when you hop on the Monster Hunter universe through Monster Hunter Wilds? Let me know in the comment section below if you think the hunting horn will be either your main or your secondary weapon in Monster Hunter Wilds. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turn on the bell icon to be notified for future videos. As always, this has been Riku and Vivi, and we'll see you in the next weapons intro. Bye bye.